Hello and welcome to another edition of Ask Cheeky. I'm Isaiah Henkel with Cheeky Scientist, and today we have a great question from Michelle Dolly through LinkedIn. I asked a researcher at a company to provide feedback on my resume when I sent it. I have been doing this to get different opinions. Good idea. This was part of his answer. Quote unquote, "Lastly, please add the list of your publications to the end of your resume, even potentially the list of journals where you worked as a reviewer. The resume format isn't constrained to 2 pages. If you have more than 30 papers, you might want to add up to 5 different pages. PhD resumes are always a bit longer. So what's the deal, Cheeky Scientist? Are publications important to include on industry resumes or not?" So great question. And for anybody who asks other professionals out there whether or not they should add publications to their resume, or if you ask for any sort of job search advice in general to the general public or in general to industry professionals, you're going to get a variety of answers. The key here is to realize that just because somebody is working in industry doesn't mean that they are a professional hiring manager or a professional recruiter. It doesn't mean that they know that they're a professional in the job search or the job hiring industry. Everybody has their own expertise and everybody has their own experiences. Now, what we see we get a lot of questions like these, and what often happens is that somebody asks a lifetime academic, right, an academic researcher, or they ask somebody in industry who's been working at the bench and who values publications quite a bit. And these people, of course, say, well, you should, of course, include your publications because it's the most important thing in the world. But again, you have to know your audience here. If you're asking a hiring manager at the company you're applying to and they tell you to include a list of publications, by all means do so. But that's the only time that you should include a list of publications, only when you're asked specifically by the company you're applying to. Every other time, you should just keep your resume to 2 pages and do not include an endnote style list of publications on your resume. The biggest reason for this is because, especially early on in the interviewing process, when you're doing your phone screens or your Skype video calls, your Skype video interviews, you're going to be talking to hiring managers and recruiters. And very often these people do not have a high-level technical information, nor do they care about your publications. In fact, it can be annoying to them to see a list of publications on a resume, especially because you should know, if you've done your homework, that hiring managers and recruiters only spend 5 to 7 seconds on a resume. Now, by all means, if you want to include the number of publications that you have in your professional summary, and one of the bullet points in your professional summary at the top of your resume, in what we call is the visual center, by all means do that. If you've published in Nature or another journal and that you're very proud of, or just take the best journal you published in, and you can include that in that bullet point as well. You could say, have done XYZ resulting in 11 publications, including a Nature publication on XYZ, right? So that's all you need to do. You do not need to include an endnote style list, right? So just remember who your audience is, especially in the beginning of the interviewing process. Make sure that you're considering who's giving you the advice when it comes to publications or anything else that relates to your job search. And then finally, remember, if they want something from you, they will ask for it. It's not like including your publications on your resume is going to make you a better candidate for the job. It's just simply not true, especially if you're putting the number of publications you have in your best publication on the top of your resume. Right? So you don't need to include that endnote style list unless specifically asked for. And down the track, when you're on your on-site interview, you can bring a list of your publications with you to give to anybody that's a head of a department or the head of the research department, the CSO, who might ask for that specifically. So keep this in mind when you're writing your resumes and when you're interacting with hiring managers and recruiters. And until next time, remember your value as a PhD and start thinking and acting like a successful industry professional.